you're not into TMI, this isn't gonna be the video for you. Oh my gosh, I forgot that that was how I felt. And I would say that is right when my morning sickness started. That was really weird. I literally jotted down that Reddit told me that it was fine. And hello everybody, it is Dingle here and welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are doing super duper well. And today, my friends, I am sharing my first trimester recap, which I thought honestly I would be sharing a lot sooner than when I'm sharing it right now. But if you haven't been following along, we had a few lumps and bumps having to do with the first trimester. A lot of them having to do with what it took to get to this pregnancy. So if you're new, hello, I'm so happy to have you. If you're curious at all on our infertility journey or anything like that, I will leave that full playlist linked down below. But I can't believe I'm here making this video right now for so many reasons. Ever since 4 weeks pregnant, I've been jotting down some things that I wanted to note, and even going back and looking at some of this stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot that that was how I felt, or I forgot about that craving and things like that. So I'm really excited to have it and to have to share with you all. So if you relate or resonate with any of this stuff, or you have your different experiences in your first trimester that you want to share, feel free to comment those down below. I will say, if you're looking for very early pregnancy symptoms, I have an entire other video on that related to my IVF embryo transfer. So I'll also leave that video directly down below as well in case you're curious on those things. But we're gonna pick up where that video technically left off. So we start out with 4 weeks pregnant. I said overall breast tenderness started lightening up because that was a huge sign of pregnancy initially for me. But my nipples, if you're not into TMI, this isn't gonna be the video for you, just FYI. But I said that my nipples began to get sore instead. So it really just shifted. Also, I have the window open because it is toasty today, so apologies for the background noise that you might hear. I said I had cramping here and there, but it wasn't as consistent as it was before. But I did have a few cramp attacks, which were scary, but I realized that they were really related more so to me having to go to the bathroom as well as being early in pregnancy. And Reddit told me it was fine. I literally jotted down that Reddit told me that it was fine. At 5 weeks, specifically 5 weeks and 2 days, I felt off, shaky, and very hungry only an hour after a big breakfast. But I didn't think that was possible, so I thought it was something else, but I felt immediately better after I scarfed down some Chick-fil-A. But at 5 weeks, 3 days, and 4 days, I started increasingly feeling queasy around that same time of the day, around 12 p.m. But at 5 weeks, 4 days, I was queasy when I woke up. And I would say that is right when my morning sickness started, right early at 5 weeks and 2 days. The things that I wrote down that helped during those early days of morning sickness, it was all day honestly, was keeping food in my stomach at all times, ginger tea, and my stork pops. I'll leave those stork pops linked down below because those ones really did help take the edge off for me. And then I wrote down a lot of the foods that I was just constantly eating, and it definitely brings me back because some of these I haven't had in a really long time. Almond butter Nature Valley bars, chewy dipped bars, they're like dipped in chocolate, they're delicious. Eggo waffles and French toast sticks specifically, always drowned in syrup, that's very important. Bagels and cream cheese, tomato soup for lunch only. It would get to midday and literally nothing else sounded okay to eat except for tomato soup. I'm talking no chicken noodle soup, definitely no chicken noodle soup, because I literally right below this said no chicken in all caps. Chicken was already an iffy food for me. Meat in general is already an iffy food for me even when I'm not pregnant, but the chicken aversion was so real. But yeah, tomato soup was it. Tomato bisque was pushing it because it had chunks of tomato in it. I really just wanted like liquid, just liquid for lunch. And I wrote that I don't even want coffee, which I remember going into it in one of the first trimester day in the life vlogs that I was filming, but the fact that I didn't want coffee was a very strange occurrence for me. At 6 weeks, I wrote that I was nauseous pretty much all day, and it did let up a little bit in the evenings. Extreme exhaustion would hit around 1 p.m. for me, so I was really just down for the count. I remember when I stayed over at my parents' house while Jack was out of town one of these 6 weeks, I warned them that I was gonna be pretty okay, pretty human, as long as I had something in my stomach. But as soon as 1 p.m. hit, I'm not leaving the house and I'm not leaving the couch, basically. At 7 weeks, I noted that the nausea started letting up. Some days were worse than others, but it was not consistent. I also noted that insomnia started. That was really weird. I don't have that anymore, and I probably would have forgotten about it, but I would wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. I would realize I had to go to the bathroom, so I would get up and I would pee, and then I would just be awake for the rest of the night. It was horrible, actually. I can't believe I forgot about that. That's why people say, they're like, you're gonna forget about all of these things and then you're gonna like want 10 more kids. And I've already forgotten some of this stuff that really took a toll on me early on. I said I still need to keep food in my stomach. The same types of food apply that I had listed up above, but I started being able to sneak in more nutritious options. So instead maybe of just tomato soup for lunch, I remember thinking a Mediterranean fresh type of salad with cucumber and tomato and feta, like that type of thing, started actually sounding okay as well, but still a very deep aversion to chicken. At 8 to 9 weeks, I said the nausea pretty much let up completely. I was still tired, starting needing less food throughout the day. I remember I was constantly eating before then, like constantly snacking on something because I didn't want to feel super nauseous. But at this point, it sounds like I started needing less snacks throughout the day. I noted that the crazy dreams started around this time. It was nearly every single night. It was like a routine. I would wake up in the morning, Jack and I would be sitting in the kitchen, he would be cooking me up some breakfast, and I would just tell him about the insane dream that I had because it was so vivid every single night. This is when sweet things started coming into the mix. Ice cream, cookies, chocolate milk. Like, I don't normally have a sweet tooth. There are definitely some desserts that sound better to me than others, but I always will take like McDonald's French fries over a dessert any day. But I still want cookies, and I'm still constantly having ice cream for dessert. Like, that's very strange for me. And then I wrote down orange slices. This was when I started discovering how freaking amazing orange smiles are. Like having orange and you cut it up and you just eat the smiles. I want one right now, actually. I might do that. No, I think I'm out of oranges. Anyway, every single week, oranges are a staple now on our grocery list. At 10 weeks, I noted that there's pretty much no nausea at all. I was still extremely tired, and even less food was needed throughout the day. I would say that by now, I remember not eating a ton all at once, because if I ate a ton, I would feel very sick or just very like heartburn-y. So I would just eat little things throughout the day, but basically all the time in those early weeks. But it sounds like around this time, I just didn't need as many of those smaller snacks or meals as I needed before. The only note I have at 12 weeks is my first bleed. And if you want to know all of the details about my subchorionic hematoma and hemorrhage, that is my previous video here on my channel. But that whole week was a blur. I don't have anything else about that week. And at 13 weeks, I have that my appetite started feeling like it's going back to normal, which was wild. And I do remember what that was. Instead of the little meals throughout the day, I started actually having like breakfast, maybe a mid-morning snack, but that's not unusual for me, a lunch, and then a dinner. And that started becoming very consistent, which was great. I feel like my appetite was just all over the place, especially with the foods that I didn't want to eat or I wanted to eat, but also how much I was eating or how little I was eating. It was just not normal for me at all. And then I also noted again that I'm not needing as much food before becoming hungry. So I was staying satiated a lot longer, probably because I was able to have those bigger main meals versus the smaller ones throughout the day. It is wild looking back at this list though. I'm so glad I kept it, because again, half of those things surprised me reading them out loud. And I can't wait to look back on this and share with my little bean what I was craving or what they wanted or what they didn't want in my belly. But if you guys experience any of the same types of things during your first trimester, I would love to know. Or if you experienced very different things, like what your cravings were, what your aversions were. When did you start or stop feeling nauseous? Did you feel nauseous? I'm always so curious because this experience is so different among so many different women. And pregnancy is just fascinating to me overall. It really is. But anyways, my friends, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure to do so down below because I upload videos like these every single week. All of my socials, including my Instagram, are linked down below. I love you all so much, and I will catch you in the next one, my friends. I'll see you later. Bye!